Gervonta Davis hit list revealed. Loma, Haney, Shakur for after Ryan Garcia. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, the big homie, Gervonta Tank Davis, has revealed his future hit list. His next few opponents at 135, he feels like he's going to be fighting after Ryan Garcia. And I just want to give my 2 cents on what Tank had to say. He said that his future plans are to fight Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Vasyl Lomachenko. Now, we all know he's got an upcoming fight. I believe it's next weekend with Ryan Garcia. And that's in a lot of people's mind. I don't think it is, but a lot of people say it's the biggest fight of his career. I would say it's the most notable fight of his career. Like, this fight is going to come with probably the biggest fan base, the biggest payday. But I won't say that Ryan Garcia is his toughest opponent to date. I think he's already had some pretty tough opponents, and Ryan Garcia is still trying to build his resume. So I don't agree with anybody saying that this is his toughest opponent to date, but definitely his biggest fight as far as fans, people tuning in, and money. When you think about Loma has a fight with Devin Haney coming up in May, and I think they're already done with Loma personally. I think Loma is going to get relegated to a journeyman, and I think Devin's going to beat him. You know, I hate to say that, but I do think Devin's going to most likely win. I don't think he'll knock him out. It'll probably be a close decision victory. That probably won't be a rematch. I don't think that Gervonta is going to end up fighting Loma at all, really, because I feel like this about Loma. Once Devin beats him, there's really not a lot of incentive for anybody else to fight him. He's still too dangerous. You might lose to him, so fighting him, you know, if you're like a Shakur or a Gervonta or a Ryan, it really doesn't make sense, because what if he beats you and there's really nothing to gain from you beating him? But what if he actually beats you? So you fought him, you had nothing to gain from beating him, but let's say he beats you, you know, and now you have to go back, fight him again, and try to pick up the pieces of the fact that you don't have that O anymore. So I don't think there's a lot of incentive for fighting Vasyl Lomachenko if you're Gervonta Davis or Shakur Stevenson. Maybe Shakur has a little more incentive because he's just coming into 135, so he just needs another 135 big name to face up with. So it would be more of an incentive for Shakur to fight him than Gervonta, especially if Devin Haney beats him. Now, if he beats Devin, which I doubt, you know, he might give Devin a good fight, but I don't think the powers that be are going to let Vasyl Lomachenko walk out of there with a W. It's just not going to happen. So there's no incentive for Gervonta to fight him unless he wins. Now, if he wins, it's a totally different story. But I most likely see Devin winning that fight. And if Devin wins, then you're most likely going to see Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney get it on next. So I think that you can pull Loma's name out of that, you know, out of that hat. I don't think he's actually, unless he wins, I don't think there's any shot at him actually fighting Gervonta Davis. Now, if Gervonta gets through with Devin Haney, now the way he spoke about those 3 fights, Loma, Shakur, Devin, it's almost like he knows he's not going to get any jail time. So if he's not going to get any jail time, I think that does open the door for the Devin Haney fight. So y'all remember a few weeks back, Devin said he's not sticking around 135 for more than a year. So Gervonta only has a few more months to get a fight in with Devin. Shakur might not get a fight with Devin Haney at 135. They might not fight until 140, if at all, because let me finish what I'm going to say about Devin, and then I'll explain that. Because Devin, if he's only going to be around for another year, once again, Gervonta only has a few months to fight Devin Haney before he's going to leave the division. And most likely, if Josh Taylor doesn't move up to 147, then it'll be Devin Haney fighting, Josh Taylor some point next year. Now, let's say Gervonta doesn't have to go to jail. He actually gets the Devin fight and he beats Devin. Then it'll most likely be Gervonta moving up to 140 to fight Josh Taylor. And I think what'll end up happening is Devin Haney will probably stick around 135 for a little while longer. If he gets beat, and him and Shakur will end up fighting each other probably for all the vacated titles that Gervonta leaves behind to fight Josh Taylor for. Because if Gervonta beats Devin, there's really no reason for him to fight Shakur. I think Devin is a slight step above Shakur. And if he beats Devin, you've already beat the best at 135. There's really not going to be a pile of money there for you to fight Shakur, because Shakur's up and coming and there's no other big names left at 135 other than Devin and Loma for Shakur to fight. So if he already beat Ryan and Devin, there's no need for Gervonta Davis to stick around 135 to fight Shakur. There's going to be more money involved in him moving up to 140 to fight Josh Taylor. So I don't think the Shakur Stevenson fight happens either. I think he's more likely to fight Josh Taylor than he is to fight Shakur Stevenson. Now, this all depends on, once again, if Devin Haney can get past Loma. I do think Loma has the skills to beat Devin, but I don't think Loma has the interest by the powers that be anymore for him to get past Devin. I don't see it happening. I might be wrong. Perhaps, Bob is more invested in Loma than I think he is, but I don't think Bob needs Loma anymore. He has Shakur, and eventually either those two guys will meet, and Shakur will most likely get past them anyway. Bob's probably more heavily invested in Shakur now than he is in Loma. So I don't think he cares if Devin beats him. I think he's going to get what he can make off that fight and then move on and bank on Shakur taking over the division and not, Loma just trying to make a comeback. Bob Arum never really seems to be interested in his fighters making comebacks. He usually moves on once they're in comeback mode to new, younger fighters. It's just the way Bob Arum's done it for a long time. And once again, like I said, I don't see the incentive for Gervonta to stick around to fight Shakur. Perhaps Shakur knocks off a few high-level names before Gervonta exits the division. But I think all of this is going to play out within a year, So I don't think it's a lot of time for Shakur Stevens to make his name in the 135 division before either Devin leaves or Gervonta leaves, And those are the two biggest names. And more than likely, both of those guys will leave once that fight actually does happen. Because I do think that Gervonta-Devin fight is the biggest fight in 135 if both of those guys beat their upcoming opponents. As far as Shakur goes, man, I do think Shakur is going to make a big name at 135, but I don't think it's going to be versus those two guys. I think he's going to have to fight some younger names that make a come up at 135. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tube. So holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, hit my Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are mine. Blackout. Come on.
In the old school switching lanes, G's in the hood trying to pitch the cane. I'm a young nigga trying to get the change. Niggas need money, long live the game. Real niggas getting money on the block, putting in work like they on the clock. See me in the hoods that's known to pop, chillin' waiting on my cell phone to stop. Ringing off the hook, now I need a new phone call. Hit her with some soft and she keep a nigga on hard. But y'all ain't the hard type. Y'all chicks acting like niggas, y'all die.
Late night outside where the G's be pitching. Got weed, got crack, we be selling these bitches. I'm trying to get that guap, so I'm all the way with it. I ain't bullshitting with you, watch me handle my business.
Don't sleep, just eat, nigga.
Handle your business.
Let the teeth go deep, mommy.
Handle your business.
Yeah,
I handle my business.
get it in, move it out.
I'ma handle my business.
Now here's how it goes when I'm back in town. I walk up in the club with a black and mild. Grab a thick dame, turn that ass around. Tell her if you ain't no better, ask around. Got the number one fly nigga pound for pound. Let the clear disappear, then I down the brown. And you might see me rolling up, shotgun in the ride, and I'm rolling up. Then I'm blowing funk, then I'm posted up, standing next to a car with an open trunk. CDs for the 5, and you know it bump. Fully wheel on the track, then the stack greenback.
Late night outside where the G's be pitching. Got weed, got crack, we be selling these bitches. I'm trying to get that guap, so I'm all the way with it. I ain't bullshitting with you, watch me